I'm going to show you some not often seen records. I like the things that are kind of offbeat, and often pick them up and find so many great items at Records and Tapes Galore here in Saginaw. It sounds like a paid endorsement of them every time I do a video, but it's not. Just because I love them there, and they have an awesome record store. The first one I want to show you harkens back to my childhood, and it's Ed Allen time. Ed Allen was a television host noted for a syndicated exercise program, and that used to be watched in it seems like it came on in the early or late morning, early afternoon, and my mom never missed Ed Allen or Jack LaLanne. She watched them religiously. But oddly, I found out that Ed Allen was also an actor and singer early on during his career, and I never knew that about him. I found that quite interesting. But he became a TV program host in 1948, very early on in television. So he had his foot in the door very early on. And then in 1963, television producer Riff Markowitz brought Allen to Canada, recording, get this, 65 half-hour episodes of the exercise show in 5 days. So I tell you what, somebody was working up a sweat in those 5 days. The record album, of course, it's got, the picture of Ed Allen on the cover. Then on the back, it shows the different exercises and the positions, that one must be in to accomplish the best bust line, tummy and waist, hips and legs, calves and ankles, and so on and so on. This one specifically was aimed at women, as was the show, and was also Jack LaLanne's show. It was for the women. That was their audience during that portion of the day, and he was very, very successful. He had 105 episodes of his program that were produced for the Canadian production team of Al Guest and Gene Matheson. So he's highly successful in Canada, the United States, around the world. He had a following of millions of viewers and fans. Boy, I wish I knew his secret. Anyways, his exercise show was still being distributed in the early 1990s, I'm told. And so, interesting record file. Let me show you the label real quick. It is on his own label, so an interesting record. I've got to be honest, I've not listened to it. The complete album is available here on YouTube from another channel, so I'm not going to duplicate that, but I will try to remember to put a link in the description so you can check it out if you'd like to. I love vintage album covers. I think they are so cool, and some of them are so corny. And this is one that I like. It's called I Love Polka, and this was released on JJ Records. Right there it is, JJ Records. And Be Happy and Gay with JJ, it says. It takes on a whole different meaning in today's day and age, yes. But it features Mr. Happy Music, Lil Wally. Lil Wally. So you've got your polka dancers there. You've got your really yucky color scheme of pink and blue, but it invokes that era that it came out in, which I would assume would be the late 1950s, early 1960s. There's the JJ label. It's an interesting looking label. It's kind of a nice looking label as those go. So, yeah, manufactured by Premier Albums Incorporated for JJ Records. And we have on here, this one's for my wife that I've been separated from for 12 years. Are you ready for it? Wait for it. The She's Too Fat for Me polka. And then there's Baby Doll Polka, Crazy Polka, Janet Squirt Polka, and many others. And then listed on the back are other albums available from JJ Records. Now this next one is another polka one, and it's called Let's Polka, and it was recorded on 35mm film for the best in recorded sound. It proclaims there, and this one was released by Winecoat Records. I believe this again is late 1950s, early 1960s. The cover is so colorful and so it's just so 1950s, you know. So Let's Polka was by John Kolsky and his orchestra, and you know a lot of these polka albums just duplicate polkas that are on other albums. So I'm not going to read these off. It has Two Fat Polka on here again, the Finger Polka, the Ice Cube and Beer Polka, Bye Bye Baby Polka. The concept though of the 35 millimeter film for recording, it was the use of the 4-channel 35 millimeter film instead of conventional magnetic tape. I'm reading from the back, which is responsible for the radical improvement in sound quality that can be heard on this record because of the greater film width. Each recording track is 2.5 times the track width of a conventional tape, so it stands to reason you get better sound, right? The extra wide track results in a greatly improved signal to noise ratio and a consequent reduction of hiss to the point where it is virtually inaudible. And like movie film, 35 millimeter film is sprocket driven, so it's not running across a magnetic tape head where there might be dropouts and such. Of course, it all depends on what equipment you have to play it back on. I have taken a quick listen to this one. The sound is actually pretty good. I'm not a big polka fan. My dad was a big polka fan. He loved it. My dad was, this is the label by the way, my dad was in Italy in World War II in the front lines, and he got to listening to polka when he was there, and one of his favorite polka type songs was Lily Marlene, and it always reminds me of my dad when I hear that song and some of the many stories he had to tell me. Now this next one is called Campus Favorites, and it is a neat cover, but let's take a look at Campus Favorites, and you have all these beautiful gals in their cheerleading outfits, and they're just looking mighty fine, aren't they? And this was released by, it says it's a Blue Ribbon product, and Hollywood Records. So that's what the label, needs to be cleaned. That's what the label looks like for Hollywood Records, or looked like. Now, again, I hope you can see them, but it has, let's see, I'll just name a few. The Buckle Down Winsaki, Bula Bula, Sweetheart of Sigma Chi, Betty Coed, Yaz of Texas, You've Got to Be a Football Hero, Whiff and Puff Song, Rambling Wreck from Georgia Tech. And it says, it doesn't tell who are particularly the artists on each individual song, but it says Hollywood Records feature outstanding artists, and it lists Vic Damone, Lenny Ross, Lawrence Brooks, Bruce Foote, a whole bunch of them. The only one whose name I recognize is that of Vic Damone. This features, I guess, the Symphony Orchestra from the Chicago Theater of the Air and the Chicago Philharmonic Symphony Orchestra, various conductors, and pop orchestras. So, but the thing that attracted me to this was not the record or the music, but the cover, because it is so, again, it invokes images of the late 50s, early 1960s. So that is a cool record. And slip that right back in there. And then, I'm not sure if I showed this to y'all before. It's Harmonica Favorites, same era. It was released by Tops Records, the Mayfair series, George Fields Orchestra with with orchestra and chorus. And again, we've got, now these lovely ladies are all the same lovely lady, just in different shots, but all put together in the days before Photoshop. Yes, they could really do things like that. It was a little more difficult, or I should say we could really do things like that, because I was still using that technology in the late 1980s for a small newspaper I worked for. But this Harmonic Favorites features songs like Hot Canary, A Pizzeria, On a Little Street in Singapore, Nocturne for the Blues, adventure. I'll walk alone, helter skelter. I'm sure it's not the Beatles one. Sentimental Journey. I wonder how the Beatles' Helter Skelter would sound on harmonica. It would be more than a psychedelic experience. So I want to show you this. And I don't remember, you may, when you see the record, whether or not I've showed it to you, because Mayfair Records released on a golden color vinyl. I love, as probably do most of you, colored vinyl. And it says on the jacket itself, factory sealed for your protection, and that it has been inspected for quality. Now look at this. See, it looks like blood drizzled across it. It's extra dye that they used to, do the golden vinyl, but they dropped more of it onto there than was necessary. So it's an error record. I love the golden color of it, and I like the fact that it's an error record. But so I thought that was kind of cool, and I didn't know that before. Actually, it was given to me by Bill and Judy, but again, a very attractive cover with some nice looking ladies thereon. Last but not least is not that rare, although I haven't seen it a lot in shopping for vinyl, but it is Lily Tomlin. This is a recording, and I loved Lily Tomlin on Laugh-In. I was probably about 13 or 14 when Laugh-In came on, and she did what the hell was her name? The character's name. Can't think of it now, but it was a telephone operator, and she was hilarious. And my son and I listened to this album the other day, and I just tell you, she is so amazingly funny. And this was actually recorded and released in 1971 originally, but the comedy holds up as vibrant and funny as it was back then. Now this is released on Polydor, so I believe that it probably is a reissue, because I don't remember Polydor being around in 1971, at least not so much in the American market, but maybe it was, I don't know. That's the Polydor label that was on it. So we're going to take, and I'm going to play a few clips from various pieces here. They're going to be short clips because I don't want to step on any copyright toes. And so we'll take a listen. And bear with me just a minute while I turn on my stereo back here, my component stereo back here, which I got at Records and Tapes Galore too. That's another story. I'll have to tell you about that sometime. All right, let's take a listen. Okay, this is JJ Records. Be gay with JJ. Here we are with Love Polka on Winecoat, recorded on 35mm film. She's too fat for me. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Hollywood Records, Campus Favorites. And from Harmonic Favorites on that beautiful golden vinyl. And it does rather have a lovely mellow tone to it. Very nice. Alright, let's see now if we can sneak into here a one ring